요한복음 1장 9절입니다. So when we look at the Christmas story, I want to point out two things. And the first is that God's purposes in creation are known, right? And two, it's that he meets us inside the darkness. He meets us in where we are. He doesn't take us out like a lot of us think. He meets us in the places that we are in. And so the first, his purposes are seen in sending Christ, right? Because Christmas revolves around a person, right? It revolves around gifts, and that's correct. Because the biggest gift to this world was given on Christmas Day, and that was Christ. And when the three wise men brought their gifts, right, their spices and whatever it was that they gave, it was in response to God's greatest gift to this world, which was Christ. Hope, right? A light to this world. So in John 1:9, it says this. It says, the true light, which gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. And I'm going to actually continue to verse 13. It says, he was in the world and the world was made through him, yet the world did not know him. So we know that when Christ came into this world, that God was sending Christ into a world that was dark. Right? Because although God was the one that made life, that God was the one who sustains every breath, it says the world did not know him. So we know God is sending light into a dark world. Right? So it says, I'm going to continue on to verse 12. But to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And we see God's purpose in creation in this Christmas story when God sent Christ. Because the problem of this world was that sin was increasing, darkness was increasing. And God sent Christ, which is himself, to this world as light and as hope, as a response to the darkness. That shows us something about why God created us. A lot of times we think maybe God created us because he was bored. Maybe God created us so he could play dollhouse. Or maybe he created us so that he could see us live a good life. And we live that way, right? Thinking God's purpose is to help us live a happy, comfortable, perfect life. And that's actually the narrative of many other religions, which is the purpose of their gods, to give them a perfect life or happiness in this moment. But we see in here that the reason why Christ was sent and what happened when Christ was sent was so that a relationship between man and God could be created. So it shows us that we were not created to have a happy life, although that is given to God because he does love seeing his children happy. But the main purpose of our life, of our created beings, is so that we would be loved by him. God doesn't need us to be happy. He didn't create us because he was bored and he had nothing to do. He created us that we would know love. He created us to share his love, his perfect love. And we see that in how he responded to darkness. He did not take us out of darkness, and this leads to my second point, that he meets us in the darkness. Let's go to John 1:5. It says in John 1:5, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. And the important key word here is in the darkness. Just like in John 1:9, it says, the true light was coming into the world. God's response to this darkness was not to take us out of it. If his purpose was to give people a happy life, a perfect life, he would have just cleared this world like he did with Noah. Just wipe everyone clean, wipe all the sin and evil clean, start again. But we see his response to evil, right, which laid in the hearts of man, was to send himself so that we could be in relationship with God, that we would know his love. And it says, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. So point 2 is that God meets us in it. A lot of times we get mad or we distance ourselves from God because we think God's purpose, God's role is to make us, give us a perfect or happy or comfortable life. But we see here that God's intention is to meet us in it because his intention is to teach us love. That whatever it is you're in, whether it's loneliness, sadness, broken family situations, messed up finance situations, whatever it is that you are in, that God would meet us in it. that he would be the light in the darkness. Just like when we use flashlights, we use the flashlight because it's dark to give us light, to help us see inside the darkness. We see that God sent himself, right, to meet us in here, to suffer. Why did God even have to suffer all that he suffered? He met us inside the sin, inside the evil, inside the danger, inside the violence, inside the corruption, inside the darkness. That we would learn relationship. And so today, I just want to remind us that the reason why God created us must be more than to give us the perfect life that we want, just to live comfortably and peacefully, which are good things. And a lot of times that's just a byproduct of following God, and sometimes it's not. But we see with God sending himself, his own son, to this world in response to the darkness, that he created us to know him. That was the whole point of him sending Christ, having Christ go to the cross and suffer, was so that we would know him. That was his response to evil, to violence, to sin in this world. And so, I just want to encourage us today when we celebrate Christmas, even as we give gifts to one another. And I think gifts, I think that's the correct theme, because God really did give us a gift. And then when the three wise men gave gifts to Jesus, the baby Jesus, it was in response to the greatest gift God gave to this world. So I pray that in this holiday season that we would remember the gift that God gave us. And that he meets us inside of our circumstances. That we would know how much he loves us. That we would know that in difficulties, in loneliness, in sadness, even in happy times, that we would know that he is with us. That we would learn to do relationship with God. So yeah, I'm going to close this in prayer. 이 기도는 한국말로 할게요. 주님, 우리는 정말로 연약합니다. 모자른 게 많고 감사할 줄 잘 모르는 사람들입니다. 우리가 하나님을 만나서도, 하나님이 우리를 축복했어도 가끔 하나님을 까먹고, 가끔 하나님을 미워할 수도 있고, 가끔 하나님을 또 무시하고, 그런 아들과 딸들입니다. 이번 크리스마스 때 하나님이 우리한테 큰 선물을 준 거를 기억하게 해주세요. 하나님이 우리 고통 안에, 이 죄 쌓인 세상 안에 하나님의 대답은 사랑이었습니다. 하나님은 자신을 주셨습니다. 우리가 하나님을 알 수 있게, 우리가 사랑이 뭔 줄 알 수 있게. 이번 크리스마스 때 우리가 또 까먹었으면 기억하게 도와주세요. 하나님이 우리를 얼마나 사랑하는지, 그리고 하나님은 우리 고통, 아픔, 외로움, 슬픔 안에서 함께 해주고 싶은 아버지라는 걸, 그 와중에서 만나주시는 하나님인 걸, 그거를 기억해주게 도와주세요, 하나님. 그리고 감사합니다. 항상 성실하고 우리한테 친절하게 대해주시는 아버지라서 참 감사합니다. 예수님 이름으로 기도합니다. 아멘.